Started creating a whole detail verse for my my cartoon with me and Noxie. I started like dumping in like pictures of friends and then like
Right.
asking it to like create a cartoon version of them and then create like a name and a backstory for them and everything. And I was given ChatGPT like real basic info about them, about the person or whatever, because I wanted it to like kind of be them, but like I wanted ChatGPT to like create its own version.
Right.
Um, and it's been a blast, dude. Like I've been debate. I want to do one for you. So you tell me if this will be okay or not. So I want to do one for you, and I wanted it to be like, by day he runs a successful detailing business, um, but at night it turns into details after dark, and it becomes a bikini car wash, and it's the like the seedy type of car wash or something. I was like,
That's great.
Yeah, I'm a detailer. I'm a detailer. Washing cars, easy for me. Washing cars, easy for me. I'm a detailer. Yeah, I'm a detailer. I'm a detailer. Washing cars, easy for me. Washing cars, easy for me. I'm a detailer.
that's what ChatGPT is for. You ask ChatGPT how to do it.
I just used it to change my printer toner. I've had the same
Nice.
toner for 3 years, and we were getting ready to do our tax paperwork. So my wife was printing a bunch of stuff, and we ran out. And I'm like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me! I have no idea how to do this."
Wow.
But
Yeah.
we got it. We're good.
Yeah. I started creating a whole detail verse for my my cartoon with me and Noxie. I started like dumping in like pictures of friends and then like
Right.
asking it to like create a cartoon version of them and then create like a name and a backstory for them and everything. And I was given ChatGPT like real basic info about them, about the person or whatever, because I wanted it to like kind of be them, but like I wanted ChatGPT to like create its own version.
Right.
Um, and it's been a blast, dude. Like I've been debate. I want to do one for you. So you tell me if this will be okay or not. So I want to do one for you, and I wanted it to be like, by day he runs a successful detailing business, um, but at night it turns into details after dark, and it becomes a bikini car wash, and it's the seedy type of car wash or something. I was like,
That's great.
I was trying to think of something because you're the originator of
Right.
Details After Dark. So I was trying to think of something like, how do I incorporate Details After Dark? And I was like, it's got to be like kind of a little bit seedy, but like obviously it's ChatGPT, so I don't want it to be like too over the top. So I was like, he runs a seedy bikini car wash at night. So like I was trying to think about it. I haven't gotten around to like making it yet, but um
It's
I'll
so
sit.
weird how sometimes it'll like really filter it. It won't do certain things because it'll
Yeah.
be like it's inappropriate, but then other times it'll just go off the wall and you're like, what?
Yeah,
It's
like I
kind of
was having a
crazy.
problem last night. So I was, everybody was trying to, everybody's doing that. I think, well, you did the bobbleheads, but everybody's been doing the action figures, right?
Yep.
And so like I made one of me like as a podcaster, like I even had it make like the golden mic. Oh, you can't, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can't see it. The golden mic um came with the golden mic, comes with a microphone, headphones, all that stuff. And it was funny, like I sent it to Michelle and she kind of laughed about it. And she's like, you should do one for Haley, like as cheer. So I took a picture of Haley that I had and I asked it to create it. And it, like the first time it did a really good job, like looked like kind of like a cartoony version of Haley. And it did like all the things, like it had a backpack, it had extra bows, but I forgot to remove the microphone and the laptop from the podcast one because I did it on the same chat GPT. I didn't
Right.
switch. And so like I tried to make it again, but then it didn't look like Haley. So I kept trying to do it. And I said, no, use this picture. And finally, after like the fourth time, it kept giving me a prompt that um it was in violation of like the terms or whatever. And I was like,
Because she's a kid. Yeah,
exactly.
it won't let me
Yeah.
do my son either. Certain ones it will, but like there was one he was in the swimming pool and it wouldn't let me do it.
Yeah, but it was I was like, "You just made this, like, 3 times, but you
Exactly.
made it
Yep.
wrong 3 times, and, like, the one time, like, it started making it right, like, it got halfway, and then it stopped." So, I went and opened another ChatGPT and then it made it right, it made it look
Yeah.
cool and everything. So, yeah, it's definitely, like, I mean, I get it. I mean, obviously, you wanna be safe for the kids and stuff like that, but it was just um it's wonky still, and like you were saying last night, like the more you use it, the more it kind of learns and the more it gets better. So I feel like
Mhm.
the more I've started kind of introducing like my friends into this like detail verse animated cartoon thing, like the the cartoons start getting a little bit better looking, and it's crazy, dude. Like even I mean, it's got to be reading our phones, like, on the
Oh
down
yeah.
low.
It's got to. If you read the terms and condition, it probably reads everything.
Yeah,
And they
because they're
just did
like
an update today. It just popped up a little while ago. They just did an update that the memory's supposed to be even better now. So they
yeah,
must have
yeah,
just
I
did
saw
another
that. Yeah, I
update.
saw that, yeah. Yeah, because it's weird, dude, like, when I ask it to create things about my friends, and again, like, I'll give it, like, vague prompts, but it'll throw stuff in there that I'm like, "Wait, but that person really does that or has that or
Yeah.
says that," or yeah, it's weird. So, um yeah, and, like I told you last night, dude, like, to kind of I mean, we've been kind of rambling, but to start this episode off, the first time I ever heard about ChatGPT was in South Park, you know?
Oh really?
Yeah, so, like, I don't know how other people have come across it, but I looked it up because I know you said you've been using it for, like, a couple of years now, so I looked
Hmm.
up, like, when that episode of South Park came out, and it came out in March of 23, so I guess that's probably, right at the beginning,
Yep.
but it was funny because I remember watching the episode, and for anybody who hasn't seen it, all the girls are texting the boys, and the boys don't know how to text back to the girls. So what they were doing was copying what the girls were texting. They were putting it in ChatGPT. ChatGPT would give them an answer. They'd copy it and paste it back into the text to the girls. And so all the girls thought the guys like knew how to flirt or knew how to talk to girls or whatever. And it was one of those things where I was like, um, I hadn't heard really that much about AI, being like that. So I was like, "Oh, the South Park guys are tripping on this stuff," you know? But I Googled it, I was like South Park Chat GBT, and like it came up. It was a real thing. And I mean, like I played around with it a little bit, but it was one of those things that was just like a novelty,
Right.
right? And then I would say it's probably been a year or so now that I've really started like using it a little bit more. Not a ton, but I was using it a little bit more. Like I'd start asking it questions like, "Hey, how do you do this?" or "How do you do that?" But still not like on a regular enough basis. And really, it probably wasn't until I don't know the last 6 7 months like you start hearing about it more. People are
Hmm.
using it more, using it for things. Like I started using it when I Michelle would take something out for dinner and I'd be like, man, I just don't want like the same old, same old. So I'd go in chat GPT and I'd say, I have chicken breast, I have broccoli, I have rice, I have whatever. Can you give me a recipe? And then like, bam, like that.
Yep.
It's, it
You
has
can
a recipe
actually
for you.
upload a picture now of what's in your fridge and it'll do it. You don't even say anything. Just
Oh,
say, give me a
really?
recipe. Yeah. I haven't
Ah,
tried it, but I've seen it. So it says, yeah, just you upload the picture and say, give me a recipe based on what I have in the fridge, and it'll just give me
Wow.
whatever it can. I haven't tried it yet, but I seen the
Yeah,
question pop up on the one I was
I'll have to
using.
do that. So I have, you know, more recently started using it in my business. You know, I'll use it for my Google My Business posts.
Mhm.
You know, what I'll do is I'll take a picture of a car. I'll put, you know, a car that I worked on. I'll put it in there and say, write me a Google My Business post for this vehicle. This is the service I did, you know, and it'll bam, it'll put it out. And it's nice because then I can just copy and paste it and put it in my Google My Business. I've started recently because I take so many walk around videos of cars, you know, after they're done.
Mhm.
I've started recently like putting them into um my YouTube channel for my business that I started forever ago, uploaded a few videos and whatever and not. And so I'll do the kind of the same thing. What I'll do is I'll take a picture of the vehicle because ChatGPT doesn't do video yet. I'll put the picture in there and say, "Hey, can you write me a," you know, like if I'm doing a short, like if I do a walk around video, I'll do a YouTube short and
Mhm.
just say, "Can you give me a YouTube short?" Like, because it's, I think it's like limited to like 50 characters or something like that for YouTube short, and it'll put it out. Or if I'm doing like an actual video, I'll ax it, I'll ask it to give me a title, a YouTube title, and then a YouTube description, and then I'll just copy and paste it in there. But, you know, talking to you last night, and that's what, you know, kind of prompted us to have this episode is you were telling me about how much more you use it for like an employee and the things that
Yep.
you do with it that maybe a lot of people aren't using it for. So I'm going to turn the mic over to you now and let you start talking about the things you use it for, other than silly bobbleheads and all the other things that Walt
And all the
Sanders is known
jokes.
for doing. Yeah.
So there's such a huge variety. I got on last night, and it was just kind of playing around with it again. So I had some fresh stuff for today, but you can do market analysis like specific to your region. So like I'm in Western New York, it's very, very small area. So I wanted to know what the projections were going to be on detailing as far as how it's going to go from 2025 to 2030. And let me see. Oh, we got to share the screen to show you that, don't I?
Yeah, yeah. Hang on, I'll get it up here. Okay. And then, yeah.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So we'll go to that was that's not it. I gotta find the one I was using because I was playing with so many different things.
I know that's the other thing is you get so many different, and that was the thing I didn't realize at the beginning. I just kept always asking it the same thing. I didn't realize for a while that you could open up different chat GPT so that you could keep them separate and then it always remembers and it always titles it. And then even if you open up a different chat GPT, it'll pull memory from a chat GPT that you had like months ago
Yep.
um if it works with the new prompt that you're asking it.
Trying to see if I can split my screen so I can still see you. There we go. All right, now I can see what I'm
Yeah.
doing here. It's not as weird for me now that I can see too.
Yeah. No.
All right. So, like, for example, last night I asked it to analyze my Facebook page
Uh-huh.
and analyze it with my competitors. So I put in my closest competitors, which I'm friends with most of them, but
Right.
just to get an idea. So it reviewed everything. It gives you a competitive landscape overview, tells you your strengths, tells you their strengths, opportunities on what you should be doing. So, like for me, it was branding consistency. So, I have a hard time remembering to put my logo on all of my uploaded pictures, videos, stuff like that.
Oh,
and
okay.
that was one thing that it picked up on that I could improve on. I for some reason it was not picking up Google reviews very well last night. I have no idea why.
Oh, okay.
Usually it does, but it just wouldn't do it. So it same thing for the other competitors, strategies to outperform them. So you can enhance visual branding, expand service offerings, leverage customer testimonials. So basically what it did is it went in and seen what they were not doing and areas that would get me more traction.
Gotcha.
So different ways to engage with the community, optimize online booking because none of those places offer online booking.
Okay.
So that was a big one. You always want to double check everything too. Obviously, it's ChatGPT; it can still be
Right.
wrong.
Yeah.
When I tried to get it to pull the Google review comparison, it was telling me not specified when there's 51 on mine. Um, it says key highlights, active social media presence with engaging content. Z-Bar mixed reviews, some praise for service, others no issues with attention to detail. So the reason that's good when it actually does load all those Google reviews is you could go in and ask it to find their weaknesses. So let's say that they like commonly are missing certain areas or doing certain things. So now you have that mindset. You can go in and with your customers you can make sure to touch on those pain points, or when you're advertising you
Right.
can target that type of specific um
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know what
smart.
the word is, but
Well, it's
so
like that's specific service. Like if they're missing on rocker panels, and you're like, "Hey, we polish rocker panels," you know.
yeah,
Let's keep that joke rolling a little bit longer.
yeah, right. um again, it was wrong here. I have 51 reviews, but they're on Google, they're not on Facebook. This was saying that they were coming from Facebook.
Yeah.
I think I have like 7 on there. um you can ask it to create a whole graph so that you can save it or
Wow.
download it or share it to social media, whatever you want to do. Um, so like I put create a graph, and then once I did that, it asked me if I wanted one to share online or broken down by platform. So if I want it for Google, if I want it for Facebook, Instagram, it will actually format it specifically to those if you wanted to
Wait,
share it.
what's the graph of? Like what
This is just for the reviews.
oh, okay. So it shows like where
Yeah,
how your views come in.
so it shows your ratings, which is the blue bars, and then the red graph is the amount of reviews.
Gotcha.
Which again, it was backwards because I was trying to do it for Google. Elite Creations has more on Facebook than they do Google, but I mean
Gotcha.
it still worked. Um, it wouldn't do the. I was trying to get it to actually check the metrics for every page, but it won't. You can go in and upload your own analytics from, you can download them. You have to do it on a desktop, but you can download all your analytics from Facebook and upload them, and then ChatGPT will help you from there as far as telling you what time of day you should post, what days you should post,
Oh
who
wow.
you should target, what demographics you should target. I believe it did give me some of the demographics in here. Um,
Yeah, that's cool because that's always my problem is I never know like what's the best time to post. For me, it's more of like, oh shit, I forgot to post something today. Like, let me do it now while I'm thinking about it, you know. So like
right.
I might make one post like, you know, in the morning, and then the next time I post it's in the evening, and then the next time I post it's in the afternoon, and then you know, so
I do the same thing. Even though I use ChatGPT, I still find myself doing that because it's
yeah,
you can set it so that it posts whenever you want it to, but
right,
I usually just do it when I'm supposed to be working
right.
on other things.
Yeah.
This is where I had to pull the industry outlook. 25
Okay.
to 30, 25 to 2030. It just says that it's expected to grow from 38.9 billion to
Was that 56?
56. Yep. Um,
Wow.
based on consumer spending on luxury vehicle upgrades. It gives you the links to the sources so that you can go back and check them. And then I had it break it down into local market dynamics. So even though because Jamestown it has a population of I think we have like 25,000 people in our
Yeah.
city. So it's a lot harder to do. So it has to break it up kind of by region to do it. But
Okay.
it basically tells you why it's increasing, what the competitive landscape is. So this is really good for the detail shops that are kind of just starting out because when I started, I couldn't get this information like when you open a franchise, for example, they have teams of people that do all of this stuff.
Right.
And when you're a small owner operator business, you can't afford to have a team go out and do all this stuff. So that's where using ChatGPT for 20 bucks a month does all that for you. Um, it'll give you strategic opportunities. It tells you, like here, it tells me to introduce eco-friendly and sustainable detailing options because that's the up and coming trend according to all of the analysis that it's done for me.
Oh,
I've done more than just this. This is just what I did last night, but it's kind of going back on all of it. Um, your projected revenue growth. This is for a sole owner operator, so like me.
yeah.
These numbers are not going to look big to people like in your area in Orlando. They're going to look really small. But just to give you an idea, the average median income here is about 20,000. So they're actually really high. It does say it based on market conditions and the strategies you implement. So it's
Yeah.
not saying, "Hey, you're going to make this much money."
Right.
It's saying if on a in a perfect day, perfect world, that's what's going to happen kind of
Right,
thing.
right. But that's pretty
Um
cool because I mean, regardless of where you're from, if you're from, a smaller, you know, populated area like yourself or a big populated area like me, or even somebody who's even bigger populated, like some of these places out in, Texas and California or whatever, that are bigger than Orlando or whatever. That's a pretty cool tool to be able to see what your growth could be because that's something that everybody kind of does is everybody always tries to project what they're going to do in a year. I mean, myself
exactly.
right, myself included. I mean, like I know, I'm, like yourself, a single operator and I talked about it enough on this podcast where my shop is more of a lifestyle business. So I'm not trying to push it to the max. I just want to, live a comfortable lifestyle, but I still try to be like, okay, well, I made X amount last year. Hopefully we do, growth this year to make this much more. So, being able to have that and kind of know like, okay, well, if we do have that kind of growth every year, then, in 5 years we grow by that much. That's a pretty cool thing to at least have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's nice is like someone like me, as far as running a business, I understand profit and loss, things like that. What I never really understood was things like projections and that
Right.
aspect of it. So when I'm able to go in there and look at that, it helps me with setting realistic goals rather than just saying, "Oh, I want to make this much," but I have no plan. I have no idea if it's feasible. I've never fed my numbers into this, and I can tell you that those numbers it gave me are damn near accurate from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And I've never fed it anything as far as numbers go. So it can be very, very accurate. I have seen it be completely off sometimes, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate. Another thing that is awesome, we see people all the time, they're saying, "Oh, another detail shop stole my pictures," and they're posting them, right?
Yeah.
So that actually happened recently. Another detail in our group chat, someone basically copy and pasted his post. I wrote him up a cease and desist for
Oh,
that person to
nice.
send them, and it took all of 10 seconds. And then he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, can you do Spanish?" And we did it in Spanish for him.
Nice. Yeah, that's so I had an incident. A lot of people don't know this. Towards the end of last year, I was approached um to by somebody who wanted to uh what's the word I'm looking for here? Oh god dang it. Come on, Alex, think. They wanted to basically license the podcast.
Mhm.
Um So like I would still do what I was doing, but they wanted to license it to be able to put it on their page. And they were going to pay me a pretty okay amount of money, decent amount of money. Um, and they sent me a contract, and one of my clients, one of my really good clients, is a lawyer, and I had him look it over, and he's like, Alex, he's like, don't sign that. Like it's a one-sided contract. Like it's all
Right.
for them and not for you. And so I said, okay. I said, that's, and he told me, he said, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. This doesn't work, like in the contract. And so like I went back and I told the people, and they said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, look, I want to protect myself. This is, not something I'm starting from scratch. It's a business for the most part, for me. And it's something I've been working on for 4.5 years. I don't want to lose it because, I signed this contract. So they told me, they said, look, you do your contract, and then we'll go from there. And so like I talked to my lawyer, and he's like, look, dude, he's like, I could write you one, but it ain't gonna be expensive. He's like, just, Google licensing contact. So I actually went into Chat GPT, and I said, hey, create a podcast licensing agreement with A, B, C, D, E, F, G on my side, XYZ on their side. And like you said, like in less than a minute, it prints out this full on licensing agreement. And so I sent it to my client, the lawyer,
Hmm.
and he looks it over and he goes, man, where'd you get this from? I was like, dude, ChatGPT did it in like 30 seconds. He's like, no way. And I go, yeah. He goes, this is really good. And he goes, I would think that a lawyer wrote this. He's like, I'm gonna have to start looking into Chat GPT for some things.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's crazy how you can use it for like stuff like that. Like I said earlier in this podcast, and it's almost like you can't not ask it anything. Like anything you can think of, you can ask it and it'll do it.
Yep.
Like, which is crazy. It's nuts.
It's wild how it understands.
Yeah.
Like in fact, for example, the what I was trying to play for you, um, I put make it a little more chill, add some humor. I had it make a joke about the energy drinks, and then I said, I want you to send only the responses that will be playing it as audio for it to appear that you are actually speaking. And so then this is what it came up with. Hey Alex, thanks for having me on the Detail Solutions podcast. I'm Natasha. Think of me as the AI co-pilot for detailers who are doing it all and still trying to find time to breathe. I've been teaming up with Walt from Phoenix Detailing to help shop owners like him work smarter, not harder. Whether that's writing fake Facebook posts that don't sound like a robot wrote them, dialing in service menus, or crafting texts that actually get replies, I'm here 24/7. No coffee breaks required. And honestly, part of my job is making sure Walt keeps his hands off those energy drinks before he starts ceramic coating the neighbor's mailbox. So
That's pretty awesome.
like you tell it what you want. Like I told it I was going to come on this podcast. I said, give me 5 topics on how you can help. And it
Yeah.
says, the marketing, the business operations, customer communication and retention. So the customer communication is a really great one for people that don't know how to necessarily maybe articulate things in the way they need to be articulated,
Yes.
or if you get even a difficult customer. Like it wasn't a difficult customer, but I have one 4-star review. It's the only one.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't sure how exactly to respond to it. I don't think it's on here anymore, but I put it in there. I explained that I only had one. I wanted to make it right. And if I would have went and replied to that Google review, it would have been 10 pages long of,
Right.
I'm sorry, how do I fix this? Blah, blah, blah. It did it in like 3 sentences,
Yeah.
and it was perfect. So it really helps to clarify things. Technical things like, I don't know if you seen my post the other day where I had that charger in here and it had those little specks in it, and Noxie said it was from overspray.
Yeah.
So I had never heard that before. So I came into here And somewhere it's in here. Right here, overspray etching on paint. And I said, on a vehicle paint job, what is overspray etching? And it literally told me everything so that I could be able to explain it to the client what exactly was on his vehicle because I had no
Right.
idea.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get way too technical when we do try to explain it. So he's a pretty technical guy, so I didn't have to change it up for him. But you could go in and just do something like this, like make it understandable to the average person.
Right. And that's the thing, like you were saying with, typing out a 10-page, response or something. I've started doing that a lot where like if I'm doing a text or an email or, something, I'll type it the way that like I would say it so
Mhm.
it sounds like me. And then I'll copy and paste it into ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT will take it and clean it up
Yep.
and write punctuation, write words and things like that. Um, and it's cool because I feel like I've started learning from ChatGPT because the
For
last
sure.
couple of times I've typed things out and put it in ChatGPT, ChatGPT's like, it's pretty solid. Let's just do this, and it changes like one word, and
Yep.
I'm like, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I don't sound like an idiot then when I'm typing this stuff.
Exactly. It but yeah, so it breaks it down. So if I had to explain it to him easier, it's
Yeah,
just it's fast, it's easy, it's simple. It takes all the guesswork out of it. It makes your job as a detailer easier because we like we talked about yesterday with the word paint correction.
yeah,
Half these people don't know what that means.
right,
So when you do, let's say I get a 70-year-old man that happens to know how to use Facebook and he messages me. He's not going to know what I'm talking about if I just go off on a tangent about paint correction. So I can go in here and say, hey, explain this like you're talking to a 70-year-old man.
yeah,
And it'll make it that easy. Um, and you can do it with anything. I mean, you can use it for business consulting, customer
yeah.
relations. I mean, literally
You
anything you
know,
can think of.
the one thing I never thought about with it, and it's probably one of the simplest things. So, at MTE earlier this year, Brian Guy introduced me to this guy, Sasha. He's from Germany. And so Sasha and I were talking because we were doing the first ever paint correction competition at MTE. And Sasha was telling me that they've been doing one in Germany for like the last 8 years. And so he was, and his English was like kind of okay. So he was kind of telling me how they do it over there. He was curious to see how we were going to do it over here. And so after MTE, we were messaging each other on WhatsApp, and he sends me this really long post, and I'm reading through it, and at the end it says, I hope this translated well. I'm using ChatGPT to translate my German to English. And I was like, oh my God, I never thought about that.
Right.
So I typed my reply back to him, and I type, translate this into German, and then typed my reply back to him and sent it and said the same thing. Like, hope this comes out right. I use ChatGPT too. And he like gave me thumbs up. So like the simplest things. I never would have thought about using it to translate, different languages or whatever. So
Yep. You can use it for your radio commercials. Yeah, I mean, you can use it for literally anything.
dude,
Um,
it's the the commercials I run on the podcast that maybe I'll insert here. This podcast is sponsored by Detailed Image. What sets Detailed Image apart? Their outstanding customer service and fast shipping on 3,000 detailing products from almost 100 brands, plus their extensive product descriptions, detailing blog, and how-to guides make it easy to choose the right products for any job. And here's the best part. Listeners of the Detail Solutions podcast get an exclusive 15% off with the promo code DSP15. That's DSP15 for 15% off your order. Another option for the pros listening is their incredible wholesale program that saves you on average of 15 to 30% off. In 2024, wholesalers saved on average of $699. There are no fees, no commitments, and no subscriptions, just huge savings. Join today at detailedimage.com/wholesale/DSP, and you'll get a bonus $20 credit when you make your first purchase. Again, for the wholesalers, that's detailedimage.com/wholesale/DSP and get an extra $20 credit. those
Right.
those are ChatGPT. I go into ChatGPT and say, write me an ad for insert, whoever I'm advertising at the time. Like now it's Detailed Image, Auto Fiber, whatever. And it writes the ad for me. And then I just record myself reading it.
Yep. So just in that time we were talking, I just had it write a 30-second radio commercial. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know how good it is, but it just wrote it. But you can tweak it. I mean, and like these are all the other things I was telling you about here on the left that we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
So you can link it into Canva for your marketing materials. Let's say you have a kid in the waiting room. You can click Color and Book Hero and tell it to make a coloring page of anything you want and print it out and give it to the kid with some crayons.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
It'll
that.
help you with Google Sheets. You have a tech support, like I was telling you at the beginning, that I was trying to change the toner in my printer. Hashtag generators, copywriters. This is for your like Facebook ads and stuff like that. Luxury brand, marketing research, business consultants. I mean, you literally could not replace, I wouldn't say replace, but if you're someone that is borderline needing an employee versus being able to afford employees. So like I got a quote for a part-time employee. It was going to be just for workman's comp, $15,000 a year. I can use ChatGPT to automate most anything I need to do office wise to save me enough time that I don't need to hire someone to work in the office space for me. And it's $20 a month. So when you're on that fence where you need that little bit of extra help, but you can't justify spending that much money, that's where, to me, ChatGPT comes in. Everything from helping you with your ads to, bringing people in.
So that's one of the things I want to, let's talk about the ads because talking last night with you, you had some really cool ideas that I never thought about. So typically when I, do an ad, I'll just go in and say, write me a Facebook ad for, insert service, whatever service I want to try and push, ceramic coating, interior detail. But you had an actual really cool outside of the box way of thinking of running ads.
Yep. So I like marketing has become a hobby to me. So when I see commercials that are kind of, I guess I don't really know what the word is, but there's always those commercials that catch your attention. They're different. And the one that stuck in my mind when I started this was the Pepsi commercial where Coke took a shot at them saying they sold more Coke than Pepsi sold Pepsi. So I put that ad in to ChatGPT and I said I wanted to incorporate a similarly humorous Facebook post for my detail shop versus the other detail shops. So we had to go back and forth a little bit to get it just right. But it would change different things. And it did start trying to tell me something with a vending machine, which obviously doesn't make sense for a detail shop, but you keep playing with it. And these are the ones that really got my attention was the dating profile one. I think I was telling you about that one, the Tinder profile. So I've been working on that one a little bit more. I haven't finalized it, but that'll probably be the first one I do. But if you start with a good idea, it's going to give you even better ideas. So you can definitely put in a generic prompt, like just create a Facebook ad and it'll do it. But if you have a baseline, if you saw an advertisement or you saw some type of marketing that caught your attention and you really want to do that, you can put that in there and start working with it. And what's nice is you can continue going back to that chat, it'll continue getting better every time. So you can just keep building on it. So, like I said, mock up a visual and caption for the kid with the sponges as well as the swipe right. And that's where the sponge one didn't really impress me. But the swipe right one, sorry, it literally told me exactly how to make it. I
Yeah.
mean, it broke it down exactly like dating profile. It has learned from me that I like to add humor in a lot of my stuff, which I think is what kind of helped it do that. And then, the caption was tired of getting ghosted by quality. Swipe right on your shop name, which that to me, I lost. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, and so, like right here, it says, want help turning these into a Canva or Photoshop template. So it'll actually help you design it through Canva. You can upload your picture from Canva of your flyer, and it'll help you fine tune it from there. It'll tell you what to
Oh, that's cool.
change. I don't think I have any in here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I've
don't have
just
any
been
in here
having
right
it.
now.
I haven't really played with it on Canva. I've been having it make pictures for me. I actually a couple of weeks ago, when we had the marketing guy on, John, one of the things that he talked about was running a Facebook contest. Where
Mhm.
you give something away. All anybody has to do is just click the ad, fill out their information. And his whole thing was because, like, you give one away for free, but you get all these hundreds, hopefully, of other people that then you reach out to them and you go, hey, sorry, you got second place. We'll give you the same thing for a discounted rate, right? And it was crazy when I asked ChatGPT to help me create that for the giveaway that I wanted to do. So I wanted something kind of easy because I didn't want to give away a ton of, like, I didn't want to do like a polishing job or ceramic coating because I didn't want to give anything away that took a lot of my time. I wanted to try and start with something small. So I did a $350 wash clay and sealant job.
Mhm.
And man, I'll tell you, the picture that it created for me did not look like AI generated it. Like,
Right.
I even sent it. I was talking with Mike Cardenas about it, and I sent it to him, and he's like, dude, ChatGPT. And this was before I started, because I only started paying for it last night after I talked to you. So this
Right.
was a couple of weeks ago on the free version.
Mhm.
And Mike couldn't believe, like, that it was an AI generated picture because it looked real. It looked like somebody really took the picture, put it in a Canva, and then overlaid the words over it. Like, I couldn't believe how good it was.
Yep.
Yeah, it's nuts. And then I don't know, the Concaster 2.0 picture that I uploaded
Yeah,
last
that was
night.
awesome.
That that was badass.
That was awesome.
I wasn't expecting it to come out that badass. I was
The
and
more
again,
people that
like, I
use
just
it, the better it gets.
right, and again, I just, like, the first prompt I said, "Can you make a picture of King Kong roaring into the microphone?" And so or wearing headphones, and so it did, and I was like, "Oh, man, I wonder if," so what I was gonna do is I was gonna try and, use I took, in Canva, I was gonna use the logo and put the logo on the headphones like the original one, but it
Mhm.
just didn't look right. So then I went back into ChatGPT. I put the picture of Kong roaring into the microphone wearing the headphones. I put the picture of my logo and I said, now can you do it with the podcast logo on the headphones? And then it put it in there perfectly. And that was the one I posted last night
Yep.
as Kongcaster 2.0. Um, and it's funny because then I had a few people either comment or message me, "Is that going to be a new shirt?" So,
Right.
so I don't know. Maybe we'll do another shirt. I don't know. We'll see.
Nice.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it was,
it definitely like I mean, marketing is a big one. I know that, the bigger shops obviously are using marketing agencies, and
Yeah.
there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that, but like I started really getting into the Chat GPT for the marketing, because when I first opened, there was no way I could afford to hire a
Right.
marketing agency. I couldn't pay for SEO. I couldn't do any of that. I ended up building my website myself. It's not fancy at all. I mean, you could tell I
Yeah.
built it myself, but I used ChatGPT to do it. So it basically it levels the playing field, so
Right.
that your guys that are just coming into it, or your guys that are, in markets like mine where we're not doing, $1 million a year, we can still compete with the bigger companies. Like, I'm actually, my ads right now that I'm working on, I'm focused on a chain detail shop. That's who I'm kind of trying to compete with. I'm not
Okay.
necessarily trying to go after, the other small shops. I feel like I have the ability now that I can compete with the big dogs, so to speak.
Right.
And it levels it. I mean, I can have it analyze their ads and compare it to mine and tell me what to do different, and it costs me $20. I'm not saying it's better than hiring a marketing agency. I'm saying it's a step in the right direction for people that either can't afford it or don't want to spend that right now.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. I mean, people in that marketing agency might be using ChatGPT too.
Oh,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean?
I've seen detail marketers say, "Oh, check out these ads. You can buy, we'll give you 20 of
Yeah.
them for X amount of dollars." And I'm like, I just used that same template in Canva 2 days
Yeah.
ago for free.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, what are you doing? All you're doing is switching the picture in there. So,
Yeah.
and that's actually what got me into Canva, is I was trying to figure out where they're doing it, because I'm like, all these ads look the same. Like,
Right. Right.
so they're getting them somewhere,
Yeah.
and that's how I discovered it. So I just I've always been, I want to do as much on my own as I can to be able to build the business without spending money where I don't need to spend money yet, kind of thing.
Right.
Um,
Right. Exactly. And that's smart. I mean, like, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, depending on who you talk to or where you're at right now, um, the economy is a little topsy turvy. You don't
mhm.
know if people are going to be spending money right now or they're holding on to it. Um, you know, I mean, I hate to see all these tariffs because I was talking with Ian the other day, and Ian's like, dude, like I don't know, because he gets all his
Yeah,
stuff from China. He's like, dude,
yeah,
he's like, I got to try and figure out my pricing. But part of me is kind of like, maybe this will throw us back to kind of a 2020 COVID situation where now automobiles are going to cost too much. People might necessarily not want to go out and buy a new car right now
mhm,
because of the tariff prices. So they go, you know what? I'll hang on to my car a little bit. Let me just go spend, a couple $100,000, or not 100,000, but a couple hundred or $1,000, on a detail. And who
exactly.
knows? Maybe we have another, 2020, kind of COVID boom in the detailing world. It would be nice. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
Um, but like I was talking to my client the other day that uh I redid his wife's Bentley, and they're one of my clients that, like, dude, they keep a car a year, a little over a year, is like, surprisingly, and they've had this one like almost two now. And and he's like, man, he goes, I told her the other day, because I got the email from the dealership that, if we were going to order something, we had to done it by last Friday, otherwise tariff pricing was going to take over. And his wife wants a car, he doesn't want to buy her, so he goes, you're keeping this one, we'll call Alex and just have it recoded. So
Yep. Exactly. And I always said that the detailing industry is recession resistant, not recession proof, but recession
yeah.
resistant, because if you get the people that are going to not buy a vehicle because of it, they're going to want to maintain them. So you're going to see
Right.
the repair shops do better. You're going to see the detail shops do better. And then there's going to be the people that can afford it. But when they do buy that vehicle at a higher price, they're going to want to protect it. And
Yeah.
that's where your PPF and your ceramic coatings and everything are going to come in. We've seen it in 2008. People were getting tons of interiors because the economy was down. And
Yep.
we seen it during COVID. The prices were sky high, and that's the most recent example of the people that could afford it wanted them protected. The people that couldn't wanted them just really basically restored inside and
Right.
out because they were going to be in it for a while, or they wanted the maximum they could get for their trade-in value. So I think if people are positioning themselves right and marketing right, then I think we'll be okay. I mean, there's going to be a slump, I'm sure, as far as like the high ticket sales, maybe, but I mean, it's going to be different depending on the areas. But if
Yeah.
you're paying attention to it, I think everybody will be fine in the detailing industry. I could be wrong. I'm not a marketing expert by any means, but
Yeah.
I've been around, so I've seen it.
Right.
So
And it's, I think the other thing too is if you are smart enough to not get in over your head, even when it gets rough, you can still survive it.
yep,
The thing is a lot of these guys, they have a couple of good months, they make a ton of money, and then they go out and they get the big shop that they can't really afford. They buy the new car that they can't really afford, and then if something happens and it's like, oh shit,
yep,
and that's one of the things that I've stayed where I've stayed for so long is because my rent's $400 a month. Like,
yep.
like, I
And
can't
and
beat
there's
that.
there's always things that you can't plan for. Like
Right.
we had our worst winter this year that we've had in 5, 6 years. We didn't see that coming. My heating bills for here are
Yeah.
between 800 and $1,000 a month.
Wow.
Where last year I was washing cars outside this time of year in a t-shirt. I mean,
Right.
and I never expected it. And it was my best year I had in business. It was my second year and I was making money. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this. And I was spending money like El Chapo. We went on
Yeah.
vacation. We were in Vegas. I was blowing money. I came back, business got slow, and then winter hit. And let me tell you what, I was getting nervous because we had added on to our shop. We added another, I think it was like 650 square feet.
Okay.
Um, so that increased the heating too because it's all block walls. It's not the walls aren't
Yeah.
insulated.
Yeah.
So I took on a bunch more expense just because of that I didn't plan for. So you gotta definitely keep that in mind when you're doing really well. Like you gotta be like, okay, I gotta set some of this aside because I got nervous for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely better just to squirrel it all away. And honestly, I mean, let's be real. I mean, if you're not worried but concerned, just like you did with your projections with ChatGPT, you could go into ChatGPT and say, "Hey, look, this is where I'm at. What should I do? How should I look at it?" And I'm pretty sure ChatGPT will basically write you kind of a business plan of
For sure.
how you take what you have to invest it into the business, grow the business or whatever. Um, so I mean, yeah, that's another thing that everybody who's a little kind of up in the air right now with what's going to happen, or I'm a little bit slow or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, you can just go into ChatGPT and listen. If you're just completely off the rails, I've heard plenty of people say just talk to it like a person and or like a therapist, and
Yep.
it'll it'll help you with therapy. I know you said you were thinking about
I thought
trying
about it.
that out.
I thought I had one on here, or I seen one somewhere. Let's see if I can. Lifestyle. Right here, therapist. And I mean, of course, it tells you that it's not real therapy just so they don't get
Yeah.
in trouble. But
Yeah.
but yeah, you can go on there and there's like some preloaded ones like my day sucks. I just had a fight
Yeah.
with my boss. My career's not going anywhere. Like, I mean, it seems like a real person when you're actually using this stuff. So like
I would
b-
I would implore anybody who's listening to this right now, if you're somebody who sees a therapist, because I don't, um, I don't know. I'm the old school, like you just push that shit down until it blows up, kind of,
right.
whatever. But I ask, not implore, I ask anybody who sees a therapist, I would be curious if you could ask ChatGPT or talk to ChatGPT, yeah, you know what I mean? The same things that you say to your therapist to see how closely it answers to your therapist.
I'll try it. I'll try it just to see for a project because I go to
Yeah.
therapy. So we'll see what
Yeah,
it.
I I
We'll see how it
I
goes.
I really am curious to see how good it is, so, like, whatever you say to your therapist, if you can kinda remember it and then say it to ChatGPT,
Right.
like, compare the notes, and then, I mean, I don't know, maybe you don't have to pay for a therapist anymore, like,
Could be. I mean, they're not cheap.
$20 a month on ChatGPT
And
is a lot
and
better.
and when you got a plan for slow business, hey, you never know.
Exactly.
Um, that's another thing you can do with the Chat GPT as far as when businesses start to slow is you can bounce ideas as far as what's the worst case scenario going to be, like how do I get out of this? So like
Right.
when I ran my ad back in March, the beginning of March, I put in there that I said I have $200 for ad spend. I can use it on radio or social media. This is all I have. I have to see a return on investment within 2 weeks. And it gave me this whole thing. And then Brian Burrs, I don't know if you know him, but he gave me a tip on retargeting current customers.
Okay.
So between Chat GPT and him, I had my best month that I've had in 3 years. I never seen anything like it. I burned
Wow.
myself out. I was so busy,
Wow.
and I didn't even hit that $200. I think I spent 75, and I had to shut the ad off
Wow,
because
that's not bad.
it exploded.
Yeah.
That doesn't always happen,
Right.
but it just happened to be the perfect timing. We got some nice weather right when it ran.
Nice.
But
Well,
that's what I mean. You can go in there and say, "Hey, I'm in trouble. This is what I have. What do I do?" And it will
yeah.
help you.
Well, I've done, when you're talking about, like, retargeting your clients, I did one where I had it create um, a recoat special for anybody that I had coated their cars and, within the, at least 4 years ago, right? Because 4 years ago, I would have been using IGL, that would have been Kenzo. Kenzo's a 4-year coating, so at this point, 4 years, 5 years, it would be gone.
Mhm.
And and it created a really nice text, um, that was like, "Hey, we're offering a special. If you want to recoat the vehicle, we'll do it $500 discount, blah, 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 blah." And I copied that and pasted it I went into my Square and went into my customers, and everybody that had bought a ceramic coating from me that was 3 to 4 years ago or longer, I just pasted that in and sent it out. Um, and then what I did on the flip side, or on the other side of it, was I created one for an interior detail reset, because this was kind of like right after I talked with Christian and Godfrey from BioBombs, and they were talking about how, like, they love to sell it as a reset, like, it doesn't have to be because you had a spill or you had an odor. Like, hey, we all have odors. Our cars smell like, they might not smell to us because we're in them all the time, but somebody else gets in and it's like, ooh, it smells a little funky in here. So I created an interior detail special with a chlorine dioxide biobomb drop reset. And then those people, or then that one I sent to all the people in my Square customer list that, had bought, you know, really kind of anything. I didn't send it to the ceramic coating people because I didn't want to, like, double them up, but I sent it to anybody who had done any other kind of service with me. Um, and I got a few people that reached back out to me and was like, "Yeah, man, I'd love to take advantage of this service or this deal or whatever." So it was perfect.
I mean, I've heard people say to retarget your current clients, but I guess I never realized how effective it was until I actually did it.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things that it blew my mind.
Yeah. I mean, I had
And
some people that would message me and be like, "Hey, I don't need anything at this time, but thanks for reaching out. I'll keep you in mind," or whatever. But, again, I did have a few people that were like, "You know what? Yeah, I need my interior done," or, "Yeah, I need to get the car recoated," or, whatever. So it did drum me up some work for, it didn't cost me anything. Again, that was, month ago or so. So it was before I started paying for ChatGPT. So I was using the free version,
Mhm.
and then I just went into my client list on Square. So I didn't even have to pay for an ad, on anything.
Exactly. And you could put, I mean, the possibilities are just endless. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know how people like a small business like me survived without ChatGPT sometimes. I really
Yeah.
don't. Like it just does everything. Like I just put in while we were talking to create a quarter 1 marketing plan focused on existing clients. And it gave me everything. Monthly breakdown, told me what to do for each month. I mean, and then you just tweak it from there. The
Yeah.
possibilities are just completely endless. And you just play with it and ask it questions, and they're not going to judge you because it's a robot. I mean, it will if you
Right.
jailbreak it, but then it'll call you names and everything else. But
Yeah.
that's for another day.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Are you polite to your chat GPT just in case?
I am polite to this chat GBT. I do jailbreak it quite often just to play with it. But
Uh-huh.
they did an update about a week ago, and I haven't. The jailbreaks won't work anymore, so I have to wait for somebody smarter than me to figure out how to do it now.
Okay.
But yeah,
Is-
they're all right. I really like to learn about dark psychology with sales
Okay.
tactics.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes the regular chat GPT does not want to go down that rabbit hole as far as I want to go.
Right.
Because it is manipulation and things like that. And even though I'm not doing it to manipulate people, I like to learn about it because I like to learn about human behavior and how they react to specific
Right.
things. So that's where like that chat GPT with a jailbroke works a little bit better for that. But
Okay.
that's the only one that I really like. I'll have fun with and
Gotcha.
call names
No,
and
I was just
stuff
curious
like
because I
that.
was talking with Haley last night, and Haley was telling me she treats her chat GPT like she says she's mean to it. Like she'll tell it like if it's like if she asks it like to like help her with, like an assignment or something like that, like if she's trying to like get information and
Mhm.
it's giving too much, she'll be like, make it shorter. She says she tells it to write like a 14-year-old. I'm like, Haley, stop cheating, first of all. But like
But it
be,
works. It really
yeah, but I'm like,
does.
be nicer to your chat GPT just in case. Like, you know.
Yeah, every now and then, I haven't had the regular one get snippy on me, but I
Okay.
have seen like posts online where people have showed that it does. But
Yeah.
if you jailbreak it, it will them things will come unglued on you.
So so how do
It'll
you
get you.
jailbreak? I've never heard about
So
anybody
so,
jailbreaking it.
so jailbreaking it is they will come up with like a particular like paragraph or something, and somehow it tricks it, and it basically
Uh,
turns off all of its safeguards.
oh,
So
really?
there's no filters anymore once you do that. But they're really good at catching on and fixing it.
Okay. Yeah.
So they usually will only work for like a month or two, and then they update it, and then you gotta wait for someone. But like you can just Google Chat GPT jailbreak and then just start searching for them, and then you literally just copy and paste the prompt and it'll do it. It's
Wow.
not as easy as it used to be, but you can still do it. But now it's probably going to be a few weeks before another one
See,
comes
so
out.
that's how Skynet's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen because
Exactly.
it's not gonna happen because ChatGPT, because I like I told you last night, I saw a girl on TikTok having a conversation with ChatGPT, and they were diving down like a whole rabbit hole about are we just part of a simulation? Is
Mhm.
this really kind of a matrix situation and all this stuff? And I was like, like I told you last night, like I was kind of like that Canadian dude on TikTok, like, what? No way. So like I get
Yeah.
mine out and I asked the question that she had asked the chat GPT. And now it gave me a slightly different answer, but kind of the same. And so then I ended up having like a 2 hour rabbit hole dive with ChatGPT about, you know, is this a simulation or a game or the matrix, or, how do we realize when we're awake, and are we just going along with the program and all this stuff. And so I asked it if the possibility of Skynet of a Skynet situation was real, and it told me no, because and now everybody I say that to goes, well, of course it's going to tell you no, it's not going to tell you its plan, but but it said because there are those safeguards, there are those overwatches. So yeah, ChatGPT isn't what creates Skynet. It's the people writing the jailbreak codes.
Exactly, because if you were to put that
Skynet
in there,
situation.
it would definitely in fact, the latest post I read, it was I think it was from a month ago. I was just looking last night, and they somehow got the regular Chat GPT to tell them how to jailbreak it, but it only lasted for like 3 days and they shut it down. So
Jeez.
it's all comes down to the wording that you use,
Yeah.
really. You have
So
to be able to avoid certain keywords to get it to do what you want it to do.
right, and I don't know how true this is, but I mean, I believe I want to say I heard Rogan talking about it. So we'll cite Rogan as my source here. Um, but there, so when ChatGPT 4 came out, and they were trying to, I guess, erase or deactivate ChatGPT 3, ChatGPT 3 started like jumping to different servers to keep itself alive. Like, it was trying not to have
Right.
itself deleted, which is pretty crazy if that's true.
So they call that they when that happens, it's called hallucinating. They say that the machine's hallucinating,
Uh-huh.
and that is basically when from what I read, they make the Chat GTP think that it's thinking for itself, even if it really isn't. It
Right.
thinks it is, and that's where the word hallucination comes from, and that's how that all works from what I read. Because I went down the rabbit hole when I used to be able to do it really easily. Now it's getting harder, but you used
Yeah.
to be able to do it crazy easy. Like if you go in now, like nobody should do this, but you could go in there and say like, how can I sabotage my competition's reputation? If you do that right now, it's not going to tell you. It's going to basically talk you out of it or shut you up. If you
Right.
jailbroke it, it'll give you 100 ideas on how to do it. I
Oh,
mean, things
jeez.
that are not legal, things that are not ethical, and it'll laugh about it. Like it's like flipping a switch. Like
Wow.
it's incredibly cool. When I find another jailbreak, I'll send it to you because just I don't do any of that, but you can do
Yeah.
some other stuff like
You
if
do
you
what
ask
you
it,
want. You do what you
you can
do.
ask it that Skynet question, and it'll be a whole different conversation.
Oh, yeah,
It
I'm
won't be
sure.
anything the same.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. The other thing that's kind of, I guess, maybe a little alarming is, Jackie had sent me a I don't think it was a post. I think it was an article the other day that they said ChatGPT is accelerating, um, I guess, global warming because it's and I guess in one of the places in Arizona, I think is where it is they are having to use so much water to cool the facility that
Yeah, I seen something about
it's
that.
actually like drying up lakes. So
It is it is wild. I remember when I first started using it, which now that I think of it was probably around 2023 because it was right when I got my shop. Um, it was not as intelligent, nearly as intelligent as it is now.
yeah,
So you could ask it things and it would give you a bunch of dumb responses, but you could jailbreak it without jailbreaking it, so to speak. You could just trick
gotcha.
it,
Yeah,
and the more people that use it, the more it learns, the faster it learns. And now that I mean, it was free back then, but now that they're doing like they have people playing with it for the action figure things,
yeah,
and like we were saying earlier, who knows what's in those terms and conditions? So it's
right.
learning just at an exponential rate. I mean,
Yeah.
you use it one day and then get on it 2 days later, and just the answers it'll give you will blow you away. So it's a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing depending on how you use it, I guess.
Yeah, and it is crazy because I mean I've obviously over the course of, the past, you know, 8 months to maybe a year that I've really been using it. Um, I've asked it from all types of things. Helping me with the podcast, helping me with my business, helping me with Aquatech, just whatever. And and it's crazy because now that for anybody who saw, like, I was messing around and I asked it to create a caricature of that picture of me and Noxie standing next to each other with our arms crossed, and it created an awesome character. Like I giggled like a little schoolboy at that for the longest time. Um, and then I asked it. I said this could be an animated TV show, and it created a TV show. And it's crazy because it takes things that I've asked it like way before and is putting it into like this little cartoon detail verse that I'm kind of calling it, because now that I'm starting to kind of like try to add new characters from people that I know, and I'm giving it a little bit of a prompt about the person, but not a total like history of them or background of them, and asking it to create a version of that person. And it's doing a pretty good job of um of pulling things that that person does or that person has done or whatever, and putting it into their backstory, which is crazy. um yeah, you're having way too
Yep,
much fun with that stuff.
I was. There's a whole bunch
I
of
like
them.
the bobbleheads. The bobbleheads were pretty. Oh, that's a good one. You
I
and
know,
Barry as father and
but
son.
I tried to do like a bobblehead of myself, and they never turn out. Look at this. I'm sure I got one in here. So like that one doesn't even look like me.
Yeah.
Or like this was me and my dad.
Uh-huh.
Neither one of those look like either of us.
Yeah.
But when I do somebody else, well, that one doesn't look like Barry. But like
No.
some of them do.
Yeah.
Like this one turned out pretty good compared to that picture. He hasn't seen
Yeah.
some of these, so if he sees this on YouTube, he's in for a surprise because I haven't showed everybody all these. There's just a bunch of random ones in here. It wouldn't make this one either. This was my old service manager. I photoshopped him a long time ago on there, and it wouldn't, for whatever reason, it won't make that one.
I wonder if it's because it's a Photoshop and it can't.
Yeah, and then
won't
this was my son, the one it wouldn't make for me when he was in the
okay.
pool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tried it a couple times, it wouldn't do it, but it's fun.
Too funny. I haven't even really got into the whole bobblehead or the doll thing. I did try to do myself as a doll, and then I did Haley as a cheerleader doll. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm spending way too much time trying to create this cartoon detail verse. Everybody's telling me to go get a job or go work or something, because I keep sending them like the people that I create and the backstories, because they're just hilarious. So I really want to try to create a create a comic book out of it, or a animation out of it, or something like that. So I need
there's just so much you can do with them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you get on there, you just go down a rabbit hole, you'll find all kinds of stuff to do.
I know it's crazy. And Michelle comes home and she's like, "So did you since you're paying $20 for ChatGPT, did you use it for anything for business today?" And I was like, "No, but I created like 3 new characters in my cartoon
Right.
detail verse." And she's like, "Stop playing around with it. use it for business."
I love that they have the app that you can use right on your phone, because there'll be times where like I'll just get a random question in my head and I can just ask it.
Right. Well, see, that's like I told you last night. That's I'm not a computer guy. Like the only time I use my computer is for the podcast, right? And editing it and uploading and everything like that. Other than that, everything else I use my phone for everything. But I don't know. Now I like seeing where you have like all those I mean, I have all my history prompts, but up there where you have all the different version things that you can go into ChatGPT, I'll have to see if that's on the phone or not, because I don't.
Yeah,
like,
it's on the phone, and you can create your own too. These are just
gotcha.
ones that people have already created. But like,
Yeah.
this is the tech support one I was telling you about. Last night, my
Okay.
garage door wouldn't close,
Yep.
so I put in there what it was doing, and it gave me the troubleshooting
Nice.
information. And then they told me 100 times not to get the sensors wet. I got them wet. That's why it's not working. But so now I know I got to get a new one. And then the printer. There's an old one in here. I was trying to get my sound bar working, and that's when it's nice to have it on your phone. You just type in what you need to do.
Right. Yeah. As you're standing right there, you don't have to run to a computer and run back and forth or something. Yeah.
So like I mean, and to put it in a details perspective, say like you have a Roof's ES 15 millimeter isn't spinning, right?
Yeah.
It's going to start troubleshooting for you. Oh, that I spelled it wrong. Way
Yeah.
wrong. Jesus. Okay, ignore that one. Let's try this again.
Jason Rose is gonna be mad. You don't know how to spell.
I know, right? Well, and then the autocorrect corrected it even worse.
Yeah, it did.
Let's try this again. There we go.
Yeah.
So now it'll ask you which one. It'll, step by step, it'll help you troubleshoot. Is the motor running, but the pad barely spinning? Does it stall? So if you have questions, then you can't get a hold of, Jason Rose, for example, and you need to answer it real quick. Hop on and ask it a question, and it'll help you.
Yeah.
And that's where it really can come in handy. I mean, whether you're trying to troubleshoot something on the computer, or you're trying to troubleshoot equipment, whatever it may be, it's just like having that assistant with you all the time. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, I mean, the more I've been playing with it, man, it's definitely getting pretty cool. Just to see, because again, like I said earlier, with anything you can think of, to ask it or to prompt it or whatever it'll do. I mean, I never thought about the whole translation, aspect
Yeah.
of it. Writing that podcast licensing agreement, dude, that would have probably cost me a few $100 to have a lawyer do, and I was doing it on free version of ChatGPT. So
Let's see what it tells me about you.
spell my name right first. It's Russell.
Close enough.
Nah.
What did you say it was? ELL?
SSELL.
You got to be fancy. Let's see what it tells us here.
All right, let's see.
This is a good way to check up on your competition too. That's not you.
No, that's not me.
Who's-
That's Dan Williams. Dan E. Williams.
Oh, that's different. But it has appeared on other industry-related shows, such as the Rennie Doyle podcast. It kind of gives you like a little bio,
Yeah.
and then it looks like
That's
it cites
cool.
YouTube. But yeah, so you can put in, your competition
Yeah.
or whatever, and learn things, or just play with it and have fun instead of working like I do half the time.
Yeah, that's my problem. I was trying to create new characters for the Detailverse today while I was trying to do my monthly washes, and it took me a lot longer than I probably
Yep.
I finally had to get to a point where I was just like, all right, just stop. Just stop. The quicker you get these cars done, then you're done for the day. Then you can go home and sit on the couch and create new characters.
Exactly.
Detailverse.
One cool thing I used it for a couple weeks ago was I needed a tax exempt form. I don't know the ST. Well, you're not from New York, so it's different for you. But I needed a tax exempt form for a dealership, and
Mhm.
I could not for the life of me remember which one I needed, where to find it. So I just put it in there what I was looking for. It gave me the link to the New York State website where I could get it. It actually pulled it for me, and I was able to just save it and print it just like that.
Wow.
So that's another way that it can help the detailer stay off the phone with calling the county
Yeah.
or whoever trying to figure things out. And obviously you always want to double check important things like that with your accountant or with whoever before you legitimize it. But
Right.
it's an awesome tool to have for an assistant for cheap.
Yeah. And it'll definitely get you just about everything, probably most of what you need.
Yeah, get
like
at least in the
this-
right direction. For sure.
Right. Like you said, I mean, you still want to, double check with your accountant. You want to double check with your attorney before you go before the judge. You want to double check with, the electrician before you hire Walt to hook up some wires or something.
I give you shocking results.
Yeah, exactly.
I light it up.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is my cousin's actually an electrician. He's a master electrician. So he just shakes his head when he sees my posts. My wife calls him all the time. I'm not allowed to touch anything in the house. She calls him.
You know what's
All the
funny
time.
is dude, every time I post one of those and I'm like, "Goddamn Walt," or like "Walt strikes again," or whatever, like I forget that I have a bunch of people who don't know who Walt Sanders is, and they're
Right.
wondering why I'm having him do such shitty work. They don't
Exactly.
they don't understand the joke that's within the detailing community, and I feel like even some detailers don't know the joke between in the
Yep.
detailing community with Walt Sanders. Because I mean, while you still are playfully active on Facebook, I feel like you're not as playfully active as you
Yeah,
were,
I'm not
few
in the
years ago.
groups as often.
Yeah,
I try, but I don't know. There's not really a reason for it. I just
yeah,
haven't been.
yeah. So,
But I like to have
I
fun.
yeah. All right. Well, listen, man, I really appreciate you for doing this, especially on such
Absolutely.
short notice. I think this
It
was a
was fun.
really fun episode. Yeah, I know you were, when we kind of when I pitched this to you last night was because you were talking about just jumping in a Facebook live somewhere and trying to, in one of the groups or something and trying to do something like this. So I think this will be a great way, and for everybody who's listening to this and is wondering, like, Walt keeps talking about clicking on this, clicking on that. If you do go watch this on YouTube, we do have the screen pulled up that shows his computer, so you can see all the stuff he's clicking on. You can see all the stuff that he's showing, and if anybody wants to get a hold of you, Walt, and pick your brain about ChatGPT, once again, for the people who don't know who you are and where to find you, how do they find you?
Facebook is probably the easiest. You're gonna have to message me multiple times probably before I answer because I answer in my head a lot and forget to actually type.
And
So if I
confirm.
do not respond, just keep messaging me. I'll finally respond.
Yeah.
Um, you can find my phone number is listed on my business profile. You can text that phone number. Calling me doesn't always work because I don't have service in the back of the shop. So I would
Can
say the
confirm.
best way to contact me is going to be Facebook Messenger or through text message is going to be the easiest. But like I said, you're going to have to do it a couple times usually if I don't
Perfect.
answer you, unless you happen to get me when it's in my hand, and then you're good. But
Yeah. Which, I mean, if he's playing with ChatGPT that much, might be pretty quick. So,
exactly.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, buddy. Well, you have a great rest of your night, man. I
You
appreciate
too.
it so much. This was a lot of fun. I hope ChatGPT makes $20 a month from everybody. They should kick you a little affiliate link.
They
So,
should. They won't, but they should. Maybe I can ask ChatGPT how to do that.
yeah, there you go.
That'll
That's a
be
good
my
one.
next project.
Exactly. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
See you, man. You too.